Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing a video that I have never done before, but I love watching these videos online. This is going to be my very first anti-haul. If you've not watched any of these videos before, which I'm sure you have, it's a thing that's out there, but maybe you didn't know where it started. These started with Kimberly Clark, who is a YouTuber, a performer, a drag queen, and an awesome person who talks about makeup and beauty, but also social issues. And I like the way that she unapologetically puts those together on her channel. If you have not watched any of her anti-hauls, I will put a link to her channel and her first anti-haul down below. I have watched many of them. I've watched all of them. I've watched many of them multiple times. I enjoy her sense of humor, her sarcasm, her wit, and also her knowledge on the subject. So if you have watched a number of these, you may have seen different ways that people have done them. Some people do anti-hauls as in just what they are not going to buy because it's products that they aren't interested in because the colors don't suit them or it's not a product that they use. For example, I could say, you know, I'm not going to buy a certain very high coverage kind of foundation or a specific kind of like heavy contour product because I don't use those. And that's fine. That's one way of doing anti-hauls, but the other way of doing them that I'm going to stick to is talking about products that I am not going to buy for specific reasons, and I don't think you should buy either. The general idea of these to start with was sort of an anti-consumerist look at makeup and beauty and YouTubers and beauty industry and all the rest of it. Because if you, like me, watch a lot of beauty YouTube videos, and I love watching them, you get a lot of consumerism in your face because that's what it is products, and I do product reviews, so I am part of this. So often we are seeing huge collections of products and people saying like, oh my god, you have to have this, you're going to die without this, oh my god, this is like giving me life, and all those kinds of things. I don't tend to be a kind of person who talks like that, but there are people out there who do, who make like shrill, high, amazing noises over putting on highlights or pigment or whatever that is, and that's fine. Let's all enjoy the stuff that we get to play with and have fun with, but let's also present the other side of that, which is you don't need any of this stuff. This is not keeping a roof over your head or food on your table or gas in your car. It's makeup. So let's have a little bit of fun, not in dissing products, although that may be what you're here to watch about, but counteracting that, oh my god, this product is the best, you have to have it, with a little bit of like, really guys, you made this product, you don't need to have this. And with that in mind, let me get started. I will say though, before I start, that I have a little bit of this kind of thing on my channel. If you have not watched my channel from the start, I started out making beauty and product review videos, but also doing a money management series called Money Honeys. So if you are interested in that, I am all about the budgets and managing your money and making sure that your money is going towards what you care about most in life. I will put a link to those videos and that playlist down below. But let's get into talking about some products that I am not going to buy and you should consider whether you're going to buy either. Let us start out by talking about MAC Cosmetics. And I really want to love MAC Cosmetics, and there are a lot of them that I do, although I don't really have very much from them in my collection right now. I am a woman in my later 30s, and when I was a teenager and buying makeup at that point, you either had drugstore makeup, which was, you know, inexpensive makeup and that was fine, or there were the kinds of makeups that you got in the department stores like the Hudson Bay Company, that kind of thing, and those were like your Estee Lauder, your Clinique, that kind of thing. But there was always this sort of perception at that time that those products were for women who were older. They were for women in their like 40s and 50s, which now I'm saying is older and I'm almost there. But though they weren't really cool brands for people who were teenagers, except for MAC. And MAC had standalone stores. It was that like all black packaging. The whole store looked like, you know, an actor studio kind of thing. Everybody was dressed in black. And in fact, it started out that way. I don't know if it still is, that if you were a actor, I had some friends who had like headshots and acted in commercials, that kind of thing. If you went into MAC and you brought your resume and some headshots or whatever it was to prove that you were acting on stage or in film or that kind of thing, you got a pretty big discount on their products, because it was sort of always marketed as starting out as stage or film makeup. So when you sort of got your first MAC product, that was like your cool kind of product that you paid more for, you saved up for, but it was like it. There was no like Tarte or Smashbox or Too Faced, like none of that at least I knew about. MAC was it. But MAC seems to have taken a different direction in the last number of years. Even though when you look at their stores, they're just super colorful. They've moved away from all black packaging. It's still there. They do a lot of collaborations and things where it's based on like movies or pop culture stuff or people, and that's all fine. But this latest stuff, really, you don't need to buy this. Nobody needs to buy this. And that is the MAC Girls Personality Palettes. So I noticed these when I was in the mall just yesterday actually, which is what got me thinking about this video. There are 6 eyeshadow palettes and each one has 8 shadows and 1 illuminator or highlighter. And they don't necessarily specify, or at least I didn't see why these are called MAC Girls, but this makes it sound to me like it's marketing towards an even younger audience, which makes this even more distasteful in my opinion. So they are called the personality palettes, but these are the personalities that they have. Fashion fanatic, rockin' rebel, mischief minx, prissy princess, power hungry, and basic bitch. At just a level of being a human woman, I am offended by this. I'm just gonna say it. You're going to talk about personalities and these are the personalities you have. They're all stereotypes of women and not good stereotypes. Power hungry makes it sound like it's a bad thing to want to be, you know, moving up in your career or be in charge. Prissy princess, again, prissy is not a word anybody wants. Mischief minx maybe isn't so bad, but minx has some connotations to it. Rockin' rebel is actually one I'm okay with. Fashion fanatic, again, I'm okay with, but these are very superficial personality traits. And I guess like with makeup, that's okay, but basic bitch, power hungry, and prissy princess, like that's just, these are not things that people should be aspiring to be called. And then when you get into the names of the actual products within these palettes, in the basic bitch palette, there is one called Me 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 is the name of one of the eyeshadows. The highlighter is called Love This Bitch. These aren't good things, especially if you are specifically marketing it to girls. Like, what are you thinking? The Mischief Minx palette has one called Natural Tease. Like, using the term tease in a product marketed towards women and girls just seems so wrong. And the Fashion Fanatic palette has colors like Must Have It and Shop Shop Shop. All of these, in my opinion, are encouraging traits and ideas that are not something we should be talking about when it comes to women, or we should be trying to move away from. And I am totally a person who is all about being whoever you want, taking back words that are used in derogatory ways, but this isn't doing that. This is sort of playing on stereotypes and marketing those stereotypes towards women who are maybe in their teens. And I'm not saying that women in their teens are not exceptionally smart people, which is why I don't think they would like this anyway. It's distasteful in my opinion. And it's $48 Canadian and none of the colors are that interesting. When I was standing by the MAC counter, I actually tried to swatch 2 of the colors from one of the palettes. It was actually the Rockin' Rebel palette because it kind of had an interesting blue and an interesting green. They weren't good. They just weren't. They weren't good shadows. So in addition to being expensive, not great shadows that are in it, and it's offensive to me. So I'm going to say I for sure am not going to buy these, and I'm going to tell you that you shouldn't buy these either. Let's let companies know that when their main purchasers, not all their purchasers are women, that we don't appreciate being put into these categories. The next thing I'm going to talk about is a little bit of a category, and some of these are kind of old news and some of them are not yet released. And I sort of group this next set of palettes that I'm going to be talking about into who are you marketing to? And first I'm going to talk about Lorac because they had two sets of products this year. The first being Beauty and the Beast, which is this palette. There were other products to go with it, but this was the main palette in the collection. If you were to buy this in Canada, this is a $60 palette. And if I'm going to be spending $60 on a palette, I don't want it to make me feel like I am watching a Disney movie with crappy cardboard packaging and cartoon roses and stuff all around it. Like, I'm not 10. This looks like I should be buying it at Claire's for $12, not buying it from Lorac for $60. I don't care how good those eyeshadow shades are, how good the pigment is, how good the formula is. Put it into a palette that makes it feel luxurious and like I am an adult, not like I am reverting back to a preteen / elementary school child. I'm not about that. The other thing that Lorac did was release a Pirates of the Caribbean, or Caribbean, depending on how you pronounce it, palette, this one right here, which if you were to buy it in Canada would be $66. And again, crappy cardboard packaging. It's around a movie that, like, how relevant is Pirates of the Caribbean? Like, when did those first movies come out? 10 years ago? Why are you releasing a palette now? And who wants this? Like, the Beauty and the Beast thing, I have my issues with that, but I mean, at least it was a movie that was really getting people going this year. Did anyone see the Pirates of the Caribbean movie this year? Isn't this like their 7th like, sequel of it? Not only do I have no interest in seeing the movie, I have no interest in buying this palette, and even if I love the movie, why would I want a cheap looking makeup? Like, did anybody go and see Pirates of the Caribbean and think, I really want my makeup to look like that? Like, if anything, you would think, wow, those are really great, like, prosthetics and special effects, but it doesn't make me think I want to look pretty like those pirates in Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't get it. I'm not going to buy those. I don't think you should buy those either. And those are easy for me to not want to buy because none of the colors in there are really getting me fired up or anything. But the next thing I'm going to talk about is a product that is being released in the next week or so from Pure. And that, my friends, is the My Little Pony the Movie Makeup Collection. Now this one I have slightly more mixed feelings about because it is not super crazy expensive. It is $36 Canadian. I think the packaging is perfectly fine. It looks clean and neat. I actually think the colors in there are kind of pretty, but I am no longer 7 years old. Like, my nieces have had their My Little Pony parties like 2 years ago. I was making cupcakes for a child turning 5 who was super into My Little Pony. Why? Like, it's marketed towards kids. I actually have a very clear memory. I was a kid when I was like between the ages of maybe 5 and 8 who was super into like the original My Little Ponies. I had Applejack, the little pony. I had the Pony Castle. I had a bunch of little ponies, and I remember sometimes my sister and I would have sleepovers and I would want to talk about how cool it was if I could have the entire My Little Pony collection. That was like my dream. But that was my dream when I was 8. That is not my dream as an adult woman. So I'm not gonna get all fired up to get the My Little Pony collection when the names are things like Applejack, Fluttershy, Pinkie Pie, Rarity, Rainbow Dash. Like, I can't imagine as a adult woman going into my job and somebody saying, oh, I really like that eyeshadow color on you. What is that? Oh, it's Pinkie Pie from the My Little Ponies palette. Now let's get back to working on this contract that we have to do. Like, I don't get it. And this one is harder because I think there's some really cool colors in there, but I just don't, this is not the direction that my makeup wants want to go, is having things named after trolls and Beauty and the Beast and My Little Pony. If you're going to be doing that, don't be doing it as a serious makeup company. Have it in Claire's or like Toys R Us. Like, there's this thing between you're marketing to adult women with children's toys And I think that shouldn't be marketed at us, that should be marketed at children. But no, it shouldn't be marketed at children, it is makeup. I can't wrap my brain around it. The next thing that I want to talk about, and the last set of products in this video, are sort of lumped into the category of how much of your life energy do you want to put into acquiring makeup? I did an interesting little exercise for myself as I was getting together my thoughts for this video, because I was looking at some of the prices of some of this makeup and I thought, God, how many hours would it take for me to make enough money to buy some of these products? And at first it seemed like not that many hours. Like, I'm at a place in my career where like I make fine money, but I thought, well, no, that's not true, because I have so many things in my life that are necessary to pay for before I get to the point of buying like makeup and fun stuff for myself. So what I actually did, and hey, you can do this too, is I looked at how much money I make in a month after taxes, and I took away from that everything that I have to spend money on. My rent, my electricity, my car insurance, my food, the gas for my car, you know, the money that I put into retirement savings every month. All those have to have things before I get down to the fun to have things, like putting some money away for vacation, doing my hair, going to get my eyebrows waxed, and buying makeup. And when I actually took out all of the other stuff first and then divided it down by the hours that I work, each hour I make about $3 of actual disposable income that I can split between all of those fun things that I do. And I actually have my expenses very under control, so I probably have a little bit more disposable income than some people do. So if you actually look at how much money you have and you make per hour that you can actually spend on fun, non-necessary things like makeup, then let's talk about buying yourself one of these new Pat McGrath matte lipsticks, matte trance lipsticks. If you want to buy one lipstick, it is $52. So in my example, I would need to be working for almost 18 hours of my life to be able to afford this lipstick. And that means in that time, I am not putting money away towards like hair or fun things or going out for dinners or anything like that. It is just straight days of work just to get this lipstick. And what is so incredible about this lipstick? It is lipstick, you get 4 grams of it, which is, granted, a little bit more than you get in like an average lipstick from the drugstore. This one is 3.3 grams, but this was also $3, I think. The colors are nice, and I've seen videos of it. They are incredibly pigmented, they are beautiful, but they're not that unique, and it's $52. I'm also going to say, I find the marketing on Sephora's website for this a little distasteful. They say right up front, limited quantities, prevent makeup FOMO, which is fear of missing out. Buy it today before it sells out. No, like 3 years from now, are you gonna say like, man, I wish I had bought myself that lipstick before it sold out? Do you remember anything that was limited edition from like 3 years ago? No, you don't. I mean, you miss out on this. First of all, you're gonna release a whole bunch more, because they're actually 4 of the, how many shades are there? 9 shades are sold out. People are going for this. People are spending hundreds of dollars on lipsticks, because if you want the 3-pack of it, it's $130 Canadian. That's before tax. I don't need to spend $52 on a lipstick. Nobody needs to spend $52 on a lipstick. If you make crazy amounts of money, okay, fine. But don't feel like you need to buy this stuff. It's not that important, and you can find stuff at the drugstore. Heck, spend $30 on a Bite lipstick, which so many people rave about as being like the best formula ever, and you will still have saved, you know, $22 on the Pat McGrath one. I'm sure Pat McGrath is amazing. I've watched videos about her. You don't need this. I'm not gonna buy it. I suggest you don't buy it either. Lastly, I'm just gonna do a little few flashes through of products that seem crazy expensive, and I'm just gonna express for you how I feel. This Tom Ford eyeshadow quad is $102 Canadian. What? This Tom Ford cheek color, which is all one color, is $72. $72. This translucent finishing powder, which is translucent, you're not going to see it, $92. Just to throw someone else in the mix, this Burberry blush palette, $72 Canadian. So I think I'll leave it there for now. I know I was really over the top in this video. It's kind of the point of this video, is to be a little bit over the top, to counteract the over the topness we hear all the time of what you should be buying, what you must be buying, what you have to have. Here's maybe what you don't have to have. Let me know if you liked this kind of video. I found it fun to do. I really took some time doing it because I wanted to make sure that it was really things that I felt deeply about, as hopefully evidenced by this video, that I really think are things that people should think twice before buying. I am not saying that all of these brands are bad. There are wonderful products within all of these brands. I'm gonna make one last special, slightly different anti-haul item here. And that is something that is not necessarily a what I'm not gonna buy, but it's a what I'm probably not gonna buy, and making a good point about the hype of makeup. And that is the Subculture Palette. You've seen the same videos that I've seen. People who say they don't like it, that it doesn't blend properly, that the formula is completely different from past ABH palettes, that they're really disappointed with it, and a lot of people talking about returning the palettes. So here's what I would say. And this ties back to what I was saying earlier about the Pat McGrath products. Things being like hyped up and limited edition and things that you need to get now, because our culture and how we all do this is set up that we all want things right away. And that's what happened with a lot of people in this palette. I want to suggest that not saying that you don't buy this one. I'm not saying that, because there is a lot that seems really interesting about this palette, especially if they maybe retweak it a little bit. But I think this is a good lesson in taking your time. I saw this palette and I was interested in it. I don't tend to jump on things and order them right away, so I had a chance to see people's reviews. I have a chance to sit back a little bit and decide if this is something that I want to buy. And that's what I want to encourage you to do, is just take your time, do your homework, do your research, be a smart consumer, so that the things that you end up spending your hard-earned money on are things that you end up loving and using and really enjoying, instead of things that have just been so hyped up that you become a consumer without thinking about it. We all want to be happy, responsible consumers that make good purchasing decisions. If you like this kind of video, let me know. Let me know if you want to see more of these. Let me know if you have products that you are not going to buy. If you want these products and you want to tell me why I'm wrong, feel free. I respond to every comment that I get, and I love having conversations with you guys in the comments. If you have not subscribed to me but would like to, I tend to do 3 videos a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Majority of them tend to be product reviews. Sometimes I sprinkle these other get ready with me's or anti-hauls in there as well. You can subscribe by clicking on my face, which I will make pop up right here. And if you want to watch one of my old videos, I will make it pop up here. And I look forward to seeing you in my next video. What I'm not gonna buy.